Hey guys, I'm back again with another video, and I'm so excited to share some of these questions that I've gotten, and we're gonna, jump into it. And before we do, thanks again for tuning in. If you have not watched our first two videos, please go back and watch the first two videos so you can kind of get acquainted with what we're doing. But this is The Village. I am Thelma, and we are helping families that have children with disabilities find support, find resources in the community, offer any type of advice. And no, I am not a doctor or professional psychologist or anything like that. I am simply a mom who has 4 children, and all of them have their own specific disability, and ranging from ages, well, the twins are 7, my middle is 9, and the oldest is 10. So all of them have had some pretty interesting, to say the least, childhoods and diagnoses, and it's been very, very life-changing. I'll tell you that. And those are the facts. It has not always been easy, but I am their mom, and I have a village that has supported me, and I could not be more thankful and grateful for the different things I have learned as a parent and on this journey and with my children. So thanks again for tuning in, and thanks again for sharing, liking, subscribing. We are going to talk about 3 questions that I've been getting with some of the emails and some of the just back and forth in the messages and things like that I think are really, really going to be key to talk about next. We've discussed the critical 3 components in regards to being a parent and kind of going into this new normal as to your child's diagnosis or suspecting your child of having a disability, working with the doctors and things like that. So it could be challenging, it could be scary. All of this is new to some of you. Some of you tuning in, you've been there and you've done that, and we would love your feedback as well as to any resources that you've come across in the community that has helped you. We are here for each one to teach one. So with that being said, thanks again for tuning in, watching, liking, subscribing, and most definitely contributing to our movement here, where we want to come alongside you guys who have children, especially children with a disability. We want to come alongside you and help in any way we can and share information, because we know pretty much how it's gone for us in a sense, because every situation, every family is different. We don't want to take away from anybody's situation or their pain. We don't want to say, I completely know what you're going through. All we can say is, this is what happened to me. So again, if you want to write to us, share with us, leave your comments below. We would appreciate it, and we're just here to learn. We're here to learn, we're here to share, and be arm in arm with each other in regards to helping our kids stay healthy, build healthy families, because we all know that when our children are healthy, our families are healthy, our communities are healthy, our neighborhoods are healthy, and so on and so forth. And it goes all the way up to the top, in most cases. So with that being said, one of the frequently asked questions was, what were the early signs for my children, and what did I notice? It depends on which one we are talking about. We seem to talk about Jacob a lot, so I'll kind of, with the oldest and the youngest, because they were Irish twins, I had them back to back. So with the oldest, he was my first child. So Isaac, I was fairly new to just him doing stuff and didn't quite know what to expect, but I was just so in love with him and so happy to have him. And, he babbled a lot. Um, he walked a lot and things like that, but he did it a little later. And then when Jacob came along, Isaac was still struggling, but he had got the hang of walking, but he was very, very clumsy. He still babbled, and then he would repeat what you would say. There's something called echolalia. If you're not familiar with that, we will most definitely cover that in one of our speech and language disorder videos coming up. But it is something that children often do who are struggling with language, expressive and receptive language. And so with Jacob, he most definitely struggled fine motor wise, neurological wise, and we saw that he's really missing the milestones. So when we got him tested with a developmental pediatrician, his pretty much early signs were those milestones. So those again, or once again, those who don't know what milestones are, those are pretty much those developmental markers and or guidelines that will let you know when your child is pretty much developing on track and when your child is not developing on track, and when you should be communicating with your primary care doctor, your child's pediatrician, and making sure that you take notes and let them know what your concerns are. And they'll be able to let you know those early signs of something possibly not being on track. And again, lots of children that struggle may not have a disability, may not have special needs or autism or things like that. It could just be simply, their environment. It could be more so of a laid-back environment. They're not as active and things like that. And that's one thing I've learned. Not every child that struggles has a disability, and not every child that even has a disability finds themselves struggling. There's really no one size fits all. Every child is unique and different, and it's what I would call the discovery mode. You just got to kind of watch them, observe them as parents, and also get grandma and grandpa, a few close friends in on the deal, ask questions. Like we discussed before, education is key. Knowledge is power. So the more you know, the less you are fearful and the less you are anxious or pretty much disturbed in regards to what's going on with your child. And so the next thing, or the next question was, what happens when your doctor doesn't listen to you? Ooh-wee. One thing I do know is that when it comes down to our children, we don't play, or at least I don't. No. So when I am concerned, and I've looked at the CDC website, and again, the CDC website is a good resource for, they have the developmental markers and things like that, and different programs that you can get linked to in your area. If your doctor is not listening to you, if you find yourself where you've wrote down concerns, you took pictures, you have video, and you're letting your child's doctor know that these are your concerns, and they're not willing to listen to you, the answer is simple: change doctors. Change your doctor. If you do not have a pediatrician that is supportive of your way of care for your child, then it's time to switch. Most definitely. And that's all it pretty much boils down to. If you end up taking your child in for a checkup and your concerns are not so much because they're fairly healthy, and they, do the little thing in their ears and check their nose and things like that and say, okay, we'll see you in a year. I understand if there's nothing wrong. I understand if there's no symptoms of anything. However, we all know that health lies deeper than what's on the outside. I always ask my kid's pediatrician for blood work. I want labs. I want to know if they're vitamin D deficient. I want to know if their iron is balanced. I need to know what's going on inside, because I was fooled before walking around thinking my kids were okay, and next thing I know, they were deficient in vitamin D and they had low iron, and it was contributing to some behavior factors and it was contributing to some focusing factors in school. So once we were able to get those balanced out and corrected, they began to come full circle, which really made me nervous because a lot of kids are bouncing around, hard to focus, maybe, and, probably dealing with the same thing. And the first recommendation that a parent receives is that the child needs medication. The child is going to need something to help them focus. And I understand that may be some cases in some children. However, it's not all of them. The child is simply vitamin D deficient, possibly, or lacking sleep at night because it will disturb sleep. But everybody's ready to throw them on medication. And I don't believe that that is appropriate. I believe that there are steps to these things. And I really, really appreciate my pediatrician for my kids, because she will let me know, well, let's try the sleeping, let's get the vitamin D together, let's try this, and then we'll see how their moods probably balance out. The biggest thing for me with my kiddos is Jacob. He's nonverbal and he's autistic. He cannot tell me if he has a toothache. He cannot tell me if he has a cavity or something is hurting on him. So I kind of can gauge if something's bothering him based on his behavior. Because normally he's happy, he's loving, he's bouncing around, and he's having a good day and he's having a good time. But if I notice that he's more irritable, or he's more wanting to be up under me and snuggle up to me, or just kind of giving me that look like I just don't feel today. And that's when I can begin to investigate with him, and I'll begin to talk to his primary care doctor. I get the thermometer out, begin to take his temp to see if he's running a fever, check his ears and things like that. And then I know. And I'm like, okay, he's not feeling so good, or, we'll bring him in. So please find a pediatrician that listens. If you don't have a pediatrician that listens, change. Simple. Next question was, what happens when the school doesn't listen? Okay. Now, I love my kids' school. My kids are, I'm good. I really enjoy their administrative staff, their nursing staff. I didn't even know that they had speech. There were speech therapists, occupational therapists, and physical therapists in the school building. There's psychologists, there's psychiatrists, there's all these different people in the administrative building, and I think it's the coolest thing because they really love the children. They really want to help them, work with them, and the way I've watched them narrow things down when it comes down to a kiddo that comes in, if the kid is having some issues and they're struggling, they begin to say, okay, is this something medical or is this something environmental from like home? So once they've come, they've talked with the parents, they filled out a few questionnaires, they begin to understand, okay, this child is struggling and maybe falling behind, and the parents are concerned, and they've talked to they're a doctor, so it must be something medical. And let's begin to investigate and look at a few uh, assessments that we can do and get this child where they need to go. That's been my experience with the school my kids are at. It has not been my experience with all of the schools that they've been to. And that's why it is so important as a parent, special needs or not, it is very important to make sure you are involved in your child's education. Some parents have more time than others. Some parents may not have as much time. And I do understand work and everything. But I do know also that it is so important for us as parents to make sure we are engaging with the teachers and the staff and letting them know, hey, I'm here. If there's something I can learn from you guys that you're working on here that I can use at home, I would like to learn that. This is what kind of helps me with my child at the house. I'll share this information with you because we all have to work together to keep these kids safe and healthy and learning and growing so that they can be prosperous and graduate and become productive members of society. Because if we don't, that means kids are going to slip through the cracks. And when they do, they tend to get in trouble on purpose just so they can go home or get kicked out. They tend to not really enjoy school or education and things like that. And it's really heartbreaking because, they're kids. But if they don't enjoy school and they don't understand certain things, it's really hard for them to kind of express that. So it's good when parents can come and teachers can come and counselors can come alongside and say, hey, we're here for you. We want to support you. Let us know how we can help. So again, if the school is making recommendations or the school is not listening to you, then it's good to start a paper trail. Start writing emails. And it does not have to get to a disrespectful or a negative place at all. Just simply letting the staff know that you have concerns and you don't feel like they're really being addressed. I know we're in a COVID time. I know we're in a time where there's not as much help. People are in and out. Staff-wise, I've seen and heard how difficult it could be in this time where trying to get assessments done with kids, trying to get meetings set up with parents, it could be very hard. It could be very difficult. However, do not give up. Continue to write emails. Continue to voice your concerns. And there's a chain of command, of course. I have not had to have too many experiences where people wouldn't listen to me. And when I did have someone who was pretty much kind of dismissive about the situation, I was able to talk to their overhead, go to the person that was in charge, and I called a meeting. I called a meeting and I said, we need to sit down immediately because I'm concerned in this area. And as a parent, you have that power, you have that option. So yes, if the schools are not listening, there are ways, and there are advocates also that your case manager, your support system, and your support team can give you advice and let you know, hey, we can all go in together. Because a lot of times new diagnosis or parents who have kids and they have a new diagnosis or they're finding out something new may not be fully aware or educated of all the terms and the proper things that need to go into setting up meetings and things like that. And that's where your support team, the village, comes into play. We would love to kind of help you, guide you, and show you who you can talk to in regards to getting a few things accomplished and things like that, because it's going to be needed. And there may be some people who may not be as helpful, but that doesn't mean everyone's that way. You will find people that are helpful, that are loving, and want to support you because they love children and this is their job, and they want to be there for you in a community and help you um, be the best parent that you can possibly be in regards to raising your child and seeking out the best interest for their education. So, yes, it's scary, it's intimidating, but it is doable. So, those are the main three questions that I wanted to cover because they are important to all of us. We need our support system. We need our help. So that means we need our doctors on board. We need the support of our community. We need the support of our school. And with everybody on board and everybody supporting one another, everybody wanting the best interest for the kids, it helps everything run a lot smoother. It helps keeps the anxiety down, the stress level down, you name it. So again, early signs to look for, you can look at the CDC website and go under developmental or development of children, and just look at the developmental pediatrician section, or look at milestones or when should I worry. You can type those questions in, and the information most definitely should pull straight up. And then of course you can join our Facebook group, The Village. We have different informational topics that we are finding every day and just adding them to our page, and we're having discussions. Videos are on there. So let us know. Write to us. Send us your questions. I'm going to cover another 3 questions in the next video this week. But for right now, I felt like these ones were most definitely important to go ahead and discuss. Your doctor, the school, and other resources in the community, and early signs to look for when it comes down to your child. If you suspect that they may have a disability, you may suspect that, something's a little off, but I'm not quite sure. So documentation and education is key. Once you're educated, you feel empowered. You feel as if you don't have to be afraid of what's to come next. You feel as if you can do this. You can take it one step at a time and brave through, push through this time where it's most definitely scary. It's most definitely challenging. It is your new normal. It's something you're not used to, and it's something that it will take time. It will take time for you to begin to get all this into rotation, into your day, into your schedule. It will take time. So be patient with yourselves. Be patient with the process. This is a process. It is a process when you're learning the early signs. It's a process when you're suspecting of a disability. It's a process with the diagnosis. It's a process working with your doctor and finding out who you can depend on and who you can't. And it's a process with the school system depending on the age. And if your school is letting you know as far as the 3rd grade reading test and how they're not on track, or if we notice your kiddo being a little hyperactive, they may need some medication. All of that can be a devastating blow to a parent, and it's like one more thing to add to the list of never-ending things to do. But we're here for you. We want to talk with you. We want to encourage you. So if you are having a hard time, or if you have questions, please write to us. We do not want you on this journey alone. The village is here. We want to help you, explain anything to you. Just go ahead and email us at thevillage419@gmail.com. So once again, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again for participating. And once again, go to our Facebook page, The Village. It is up and it's running. We have all types of topics just surfacing all the time. And we would love to hear from you and love for you to be encouraged by the information that you hear. So like, share, subscribe, and join us in this movement, because we are here to help one another. We're here to just love on you guys and let you guys know you're not alone in this journey as far as parenthood goes, and especially parenting a kiddo with special needs. So thank you once again. So excited to be here with y'all, and we'll talk to you soon.